Good evening, everybody. It's now 7:30, and we're going to call to order the hearing that's scheduled for 7:30. My name is Emmanuel Alves. I'm going to be acting chair for this meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. To my left is Board Member Ted Daber, and to my right, Board Member Nicholas Gray. So, per usual practice of the board, I'm going to read the application into the record, and then we're going to invite the parties to come forward and present the application. So this is upon the application of Scott Johnstone, the tenant, and Isle of Dogue, saying that right? The owner, both hereinafter referred to as the applicants, dated January 13, 2016, on file with the Board of Appeals for a special permit from the terms of Section 4 of the Milton zoning bylaws. The applicants propose to open a retail kitchen design store within the existing building known as 440 Granite Avenue, Milton, which building is a pre-existing non-conforming building under the Milton zoning bylaws. The most recent use of this building was for a retail bicycle sales store and repair shop. Section 4 of the Milton zoning bylaws requires that new uses within pre-existing non-conforming buildings occur only if authorized by the issuance of a special permit. The property is located in the business zoning district. All is therein set forth in said application, and plans on file with the board and open to public inspection. For the record, I spoke to the building inspector. There's a reference to Section 4A in the application and in his letter. That is an error. The correct section under the zoning bylaws is 4. It does not affect the substance of the application. It's just a typographical error. We're talking about the same section, just instead of 4. I think the application and the building inspector's letter says 4A. In addition to the advertisement, which I just read, we have a copy of the application, the denial letter from the building commissioner, Mr. Prondak, explaining the reasons why a special permit is needed, given the change in the use. There's also a plot plan titled 440 Granite Ave, Milton, undated. Actually, it's not a plot plan. It looks like just an outline of the property. There's no reference points here. There is a plot plan prepared by Boston Survey, Inc., showing the property, its location on Granite Avenue, as well as nearby buildings. There's an aerial view of the location, as well as a copy of a standard form commercial lease between the two applicants, Mr. Johnstone and the Isle of Dogue LLC, and some design plans showing the front and second floor of the building as it is proposed to be used. With that, I would invite the applicants to come forward and present the request. We're being recorded, so please speak loud and clearly so that we can keep a record of the proceedings and identify yourself.
Okay.
Please.
Hi, Scott Johnstone. So we're trying to, what my understanding is non-conforming is regards to, there's two residential buildings that are within the same deed on the same property, which constitutes, it's kind of mixed use there. But the building before Dave's Bike and Ferry, which has been there for 41 years, was business zoned. So our plans are to not touch any of the outside existing. We're to reuse the footprint as is. We're not doing any exterior renovations or interior renovations like structural. And the sales difference between, I think, the bike sales and the kitchen sales is it's more of an office for me, and a showroom that I have clients that they come to me, so it's really not as busy of a place as the bike shop, people in and out and parking. My clients usually call me, request an appointment, I go to them usually first, and if they need to pick up something or come and see something, they may come and see me. It may probably be off hours or, really during the day, so really like parking or anything like that is really not an issue. There is some parking, it does have 2 parking spaces on the property that are within the footprint. And it also has, parking on the rear street Mechanic and on Granite Ave itself, which is really a low-traffic area. I don't know if you've been down by there.
Yeah.
There's really not many, well, the traffic, I shouldn't say is low, but the parking is low. So really, it's, we're just changing the venue of the inside. We're gonna, paint the building and clean it up, but from what it was. I'm not sure if everybody knows the building at all.
Yeah.
Everybody drives by it, so, really, we're just gonna clean the outside of the building up and the inside, so I think it'll be an asset to the community. I've been a Milton business person for over 25 years, building and remodeling, so, I think it'll be a good asset to the town. So I don't know, any questions you might have of business or?
Let's see if any of my colleagues have any questions. David?
Hi, Mr. Johnstone. So you mentioned the parking, 2 spaces on the site within the footprint, and then Mechanic Street and Granite Street. I mean, how many spaces do you think are roughly on Mechanic Street?
Right directly up against the building, there's 2 spaces, right up against.
On Mechanic.
On Mechanic Street.
Yep.
And then you can park all the way up on Mechanic Street without any restrictions.
Are there other businesses on Mechanic Street?
Nothing on, it's all residential going up. I mean, if you look at the plot plan on the plan, it comes down, and we're right in that pie. Across the street, there's an office building, and then you have the old Stewart's Power, which is the Milton Nail and Salon now, and they have plenty of parking over there
Okay.
for themselves, I mean.
And, roughly, it looks like it's a 2-floor building.
It's as exists, we're keeping it as exists. He had a second-story, like, loft area, which he used to have, like, a bicycle showroom, bicycles lined up, which is gonna be just my office space for now. We're not doing anything as far as,
That's upstairs?
that's upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, it shows like a half of it. And then the
Okay.
downstairs part's gonna be like, nothing working, it's all like, just a kitchen display, a couple different kitchen displays, and we have like a sample room where you pick out your door samples, countertops, tiles, flooring.
Okay. But no exterior changes?
No exterior changes whatsoever.
And have you talked to any of the neighbors about the?
I do have, yes, I have I've talked to a few neighbors that own the adjacent buildings and in the neighborhood. So I do have letters of recommendation for them. One, Bob Falcone, he owns the building with the Milton Nail Salon.
Okay.
And Sean Fallon, he owns there's a building, a little skinny office building that's right there that's been all done over. And also I have the people right behind us,
Is that a residence?
residents, yes.
You know who that be?
Paul Travers.
Do you have copies of those? that
Yes,
you
I
can
do.
submit? That'd be great. Thank you.
Yep. I can submit those too. And I have talked to, there's another adjacent neighbor that's directly, I can't remember his name, but I spoke to him about the property. He's like, oh, that's great, because, used to have all the people used to be parking in front of them, or the people be parking behind. I said, well, it's only gonna be me parking there every day, so. I have no other people that work for
Let me
me.
read these into the record.
Sure.
You
Okay.
can proceed, just so it's reflected. So the applicant has presented the board with 4 letters. They seem to be form letters, and I'll just read one and note the names of the signatories. As an abutter to the applicant Scott Johnson, we have no opposition in regards to the application for a change of occupancy. There are 4 letters. This one is signed by Sean Fallon, Fallon and Associates Attorney at Law, 42 Mechanic Street. Similar letter signed by, it looks like Gene F. Schmidt of Falcone Companies. A third signed by Michael Traverse of 29 Mechanic Street. And the last one appears to be signed by Paul Traverse of Coachman's Cove Realty Trust. Mr. David, proceed.
Thanks. Can I ask you something I'd like to...
Sure.
Or maybe, yeah, this is from your plan, so,
I have that plan. Yep.
yeah, so the, this is the property,
Correct.
and these are the residences that are
This is,
kind of
yeah,
joined
it's like,
together?
looks like two little houses are behind there. Correct.
Okay, so the ones that you have, like which is the residence? Which property is
These,
that?
yeah, I could
The
take
the
it.
one that,
This right here is the residence. They're not attached to this building at all. Just to clarify, because he writes in there, they are attached, these two properties in the back have like a little portico that attaches the two of them.
Right.
But they're not attached to the business part out front.
right, I meant, is the residences that you had the letter from?
Oh,
is
the
that on
resident, that's
yeah.
right on here. Yep, sorry. So that would be, Falcone is right here,
Yep,
Fallon is right here,
mm-hmm,
Travis is right here, another Travis here, and there's another one here that owns this as well.
okay.
And Dolan, Mr. Dolan said he was out of town, but
Mr. David, just so the record is clear, if you could
Yep.
reference
you can have this too.
Where-
Yes, this is a copy of the aerial plan with Mr. Johnstone's writing in pink, with arrows of each of the properties and the names of the people who reside or occupy the properties. So the residence that you're talking about then is this one, Travers?
Right, there's a residence here,
Okay,
and right, that one there too.
okay.
Oh, there's one here too. This is kind of mixed. This is the same thing. There's a
Okay.
flower shop there as a residence.
But
right
the one you
there.
have the letter from
Right,
is
is right
Travers,
here. Yep.
right here, and that's shown
Direct
as
butter.
6A,
And
6A on that aerial plan. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you want me to read anything else in the
Nope,
record?
that's fine.
from it, or
That's fine.
Can we
You can have that, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
can.
One of these, can I bring one of these over, or?
No, that was mine, but they was in
Okay.
that, in his packet that he has.
I have no other questions. So, excuse me, sir, one more question, I apologize. So, is it fair to say then that everyone that you spoke to was in favor of?
Yes.
Okay. No one that you spoke to opposed it?
No,
Okay, thank you.
they're all in favor of
Yep.
having the building cleaned up after so many years.
Okay, thank you.
Great, any questions?
No questions.
Just one point of clarification. So the actual, you said they're not quite directly abutting, the properties within the lot.
Right.
Who resides there?
One is empty. There's no one lives in the building.
So 430,
It's vacant.
number 434, that one?
I believe so, yes.
And the other one, the two-story, the front's on Mechanic, number 33. I'm looking at this.
Oh, I don't show. All right, the two, you look in the back part there,
Yeah,
the two that are connected. So there's a tenant in one side, and the other side, there's no tenant at the moment.
and are they one of the people who signed the letters you gave us?
No, only the property owners. Actually, I spoke with the tenant there, she was super nice. Was so excited to move in there, and
You mean the property owner of the, and who that?
actually, the tenant that's actually renting in that building right directly on the same property as I am.
And the owner who
I
said,
should-
signed the letter, who's that?
Yeah, the owner is, they own the property there and behind there.
Is he one of the signatories, is
Yes,
what I'm asking?
correct.
What's the name?
Paul Travis?
Oh, that is Paul Travis, okay. Yep, yep, yep. Got it,
Or is that these?
yep.
So they have a different
See, this is 440, that's
Right.
430.
Right, but it all looks like one parcel of land, that's.
That is all one parcel, that's why we had to have the special permit, because
Right, but
it's
is
all
that-
deeded together.
But is it a condominium or something? So
No,
that
it's
these
just
are-
all deeded
so-
in one
So
piece.
does Isle of Doe own the entire triangular
Yes,
parcel?
correct.
Okay, so that, the property that you're talking about is the one in back of
In back of that one, correct.
the triangle? Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't have any more questions. Is there anyone present who has questions of the applicant? Sir?
Hours of operation.
Hours of
Hey,
operation.
Can you come up and identify yourself for the record, sir?
Certainly. Tony McDonald, 4 Mechanic Street.
Oh, you're way up here.
Okay, Mr. McDonald, proceed.
Hours of operation.
10 to 5.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, Saturday usually 10 to 2.
Sundays?
No Sundays.
Any other questions, Mr. McDonald?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm in support of this. I've looked it over, and it seems to me that it's probably not a bad fit, from what I can understand and hear. Obviously, traffic and parking is always an issue, but
Yep.
it doesn't sound like it's going to be an issue with this business, so I'm giving my full support for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For coming. Anyone else who has questions or wishes to be heard in support of the application? Anyone in opposition to the application? The record will reflect that there are no such persons present. As is customary at this point, since there's no other evidence to be presented, we would close the evidentiary part of the hearing, and we would discuss the application and vote on it now. Mr. David, you wish to be heard?
Yes, I think the application was well presented. I agree, not only with the applicant, but with Mr. McDonald, that the use does not seem to be any more, I guess I'll use the language of the ordinance. It certainly appears as though the use would not substantially increase any detrimental or injurious effect of the building or the use on the neighborhood. There are no exterior changes being made to the building. Everyone who he's spoken to, it appears, has supported it, and my inclination would be to vote in favor of the application.
Great.
I also would be, for the reasons Mr. Davis stated, would tend to vote in favor of the application. I know the building well, had my bike service there for many years. I don't think, knowing how the traffic situation getting in and out of there over the years, it sounds like the proposed use would be less burdensome maybe than even than the bikes, or at least it's certainly no worse. And there being no opposition, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you. I agree with my colleagues. I think this was well presented. Thank you, Mr. Johnstone. We will now vote on the application. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It'll take perhaps a couple of weeks, 10 days, to get the special permit written, filed with the town clerk.
Okay.
You ought to speak with Mary. Ms. Fitzgerald will guide you through this process, but congrats and
Thank you.
good luck.
You want one of us to do that?
Thanks.
Yep.
Well, might as well.
This has the letters of,
Yep.
Thank you.
Go. Good evening, everyone. You ready?
yeah.
Move this right along. We will now call to order the 7:45 hearing on the application of Darlene and Stephen Anisi. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Dated January 19, 2016, on file to Board of Appeals for a variance from the terms of Section 6B2 of the Milton zoning bylaws. The applicants propose to build / legalize an addition that is 22 feet from the front property line at 42 Pope Hill Road in Milton. Section 6B2 of the Milton zoning bylaw requires the new buildings or portions of buildings to be set back a minimum distance of 25 feet from the front property line. The property is located in a Residence B zoning district, all as therein set forth in said application and plans on file with the board. Good evening. What I just read is the application and the advertisement, I should say. Also with the board is a copy of the application, the denial letter from Mr. Prondak, a copy of a plan of proposed addition prepared by Azor Land Sciences. Does not appear to be dated. Title 42 Pope Hill Road.
Very small print, 10/7/13,
It does have a date. Yeah, it does, right.
stuck in there, I think.
October 7, 2013, you're right.
Very, very small.
Yep. A plot plan prepared by Jonathan J. Pink, professional land surveyor, titled Pope Hill Road. The date on this one, Mr. Gray?
Oh, sorry, you're ahead of me. I don't see
And
it.
date.
Sorry.
I think this is a copy, a duplication of the first plan, just in
Enlarged.
magnified, yes, yeah. As well as some architectural drawings showing the front elevation of the building in 2 sheets. Undated and unclear who prepared them. All that is before the board. In addition, we have some letters signed by abutters, neighbors of the Anisis. These are form letters in one. I see 8 copies. I'll read this briefly into the record. The letters are all identical, signed by different neighbors. To whom it may concern, I'm writing in strong support of the changes made to the home of Stephen and Darlene Anisi at 42 Pope Hill Road, with specific reference to the portico over the new front entrance. I am aware that the front dimensions of the portico lie within the zone designated to remain free of built structures for the plot, 25 feet from the line of the street. I request that the building be allowed to remain as is, as of today, October 24, 2015, without any further change. I believe the design of the building is attractive and adds to the value of the neighborhood. Please allow this building to stand without the need for further change. 8 copies of this letter signed by Catherine Byrne, looks like. Correct me if I get any of these wrong.
I may not know all the names of the
Okay.
people, but I do, I had them list all their addresses.
No, the
and-
address we had, so this
Yeah.
is,
It might-
And I
might be
probably
on
have
the-
more copies of that letter than you have there.
We got a couple more
if you
signatures
need.
after.
Yeah. I didn't have all of them when I had submitted these to the board. I also have a copy of the
let me
actual.
go through these
Sure,
and then we'll
sure,
get to what you have. We have addresses on these, so let's see if we can discern who the signatories are. So 97,
Truro. Is that
Truro.
Truro Lane?
Truro Lane.
Truro, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 on there.
not one of the immediate abutters, it doesn't seem to be on this list. Say again?
This is Truro, right? No,
Ah,
Yeah.
this is Truro Lane.
yeah, let me just go through each
This is
one.
Truro Lane. There's 2.
Bear with us for 1 second. Right,
And then go to the next page. Those are all.
No one on Truro. Okay, not there. Truro Lane is not among the addresses we sent. Craig Street is. Let's see what I can find here. Nope, we have Sumner and Pope, Kaplan, Hancock. Okay. Don't know that we're going to be able to solve these from these signatures to identify these individuals, but I'll just say the addresses. So 97 Trudeau, it looks like Catherine Barney. 79 Truro, Judith Williams, perhaps. 28 Craig. No way of telling. 22 Craig Street, Eric
It's Eric Cherry.
Cherry?
Yep.
Yep.
How do you spell that?
Cherry, like cherry, the fruit.
C-H-E-R-R-Y. 22 Craig Street, Pamela Cherry. 36 Craig Street, Maria B. Santos. 48 Annapolis Road, Claude Duhane.
I don't know.
41 Rufflery Street. Nancy Merm,
That's right.
LaFleury.
LaFleury. Okay, so we have that as part of the application, and we also have, again, a magnified copy of the plan, which I read into the record before, prepared by Azor Land Sciences, Inc., dated October 7, 2013. Mr. and Mrs. Anisi, welcome to the Board of Appeals. Sorry about all that.
No problem.
My name is Emmanuel Alves. I'm acting chair for this hearing. To my left is board member, I can't talk, Ted Daber. Excuse me. And to my right is board member Nicholas Gray. Welcome. You may tell us why we should, the board should approve the requested relief here.
Okay, maybe we should start by introducing a few extra of these letters. It seems like they may have left, I had a couple of the immediate abutters, none of the ones that you listed were right next to us. This is a stack of 7 letters in support that are all on Pope Hill Road or within direct view of our front property.
Okay,
So you can have those if you'd like.
please.
And these are,
And then this one on Craig Street was the same, was this one
I
said?
think it was, yeah, those are the 8 that were on, that they had. And then these are copies of the actual physical pictures.
Bear
of the
bear with me
property.
for
Yeah,
1 second.
sure.
So, just so, consistent with the prior letters, it looks like the text is identical, is that
Yes.
correct?
That's right.
And these are signed by individuals on 39 Pope Hill Road. Unfortunately, they're signed and the names are not in all of them. 39 Pope Hill Road, signature is not identifiable.
That's Kevin Darby, I believe his name is.
Okay. 34 Pope Hill Road, Carolyn J. Everett. 33 Pope Hill Road,
Is, that's Luke, what's his last name? Bernard.
okay, 26 Pope Hill Road, Sean Wiggum.
Yes, that's right.
10 Pope Hill Road, Joel,
I don't know Joel's last name.
and 18 Pope Hill Road by Jacqueline Slank.
Slavic, yeah,
Slavic,
Yeah,
oh, apologize.
that's okay.
And 51 Summer Street,
It's Andy, and I don't know his last name either, but he has direct view of our house from his property.
okay, thank you. So this is an additional 1, 2,
7.
3, 7 letters. Thank you, Mr. Nacy. Proceed.
Now, an additional, we have pictures of the actual property before and after, the view of what it looks like.
To show that, thanks.
The quality of the after is not very
Yeah,
good. It
not
was
the
like
best
during
part.
construction, so. But-
The landscaping in the top picture hasn't been improved because we've been waiting for
Okay.
the outcome of this hearing.
Yeah.
So as you can see, the actual part of the structure that's in
Oh, there's-
question
I
is
get it.
just
There's-
the overhang of the
Three
portico.
copies. There's 6 pictures. No. Sorry. You brought copies for all of us. I
Happen to be 3 of you, I just actually
No, I-
printed out 3.
thought they were all different pictures.
No, all the same.
Okay.
Water, not caffeine, so it's, bear with us. So orient me on this picture. What,
The yellow building is the before, the siding is changed on the building now. And so that was the previous look of the structure, and then we built it up and out, and that portico is the part of the building that's in question because it is about 2.5 feet over the line of the plot.
Okay.
so that's, this is in place currently, obviously, you have a picture of it.
Yes.
Okay? Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, do you want to start?
Well, we had a contractor who didn't get the permit for the front. And I could print out text messages of like, make sure you get a permit, because I felt like he was kind of going quickly on it. But he did it without our knowledge. We thought he had a permit. And then Joe drove down the street and said, "What's this?" And we said, "Joe, it's, part of our house." Because he knew about we had done an addition on the house. This was kind of like a separate. And he said he never got a permit for it.
By Joe, you mean Mr. Pronto?
Mr. I'm sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
Joe Pronto.
Yeah.
You can call him
At
Joe.
this point, like, as long as I've known him and dealt with him, I feel like I can call him Joe. I almost want to invite him to Christmas. But we've gotten so used to him. But he said, "Darlene, this is not, like, within, I have to, like, say something." So I said, "Okay." But he knows that this is not intentional. He actually is going to take the contractor to court to ban his license after all of this, because it's not just our house he's done things like this with. He's gone against the code for, I guess, a number of properties in the Milton area, but we really didn't know that he was doing this on the side. But we like it, and, it's real, we're just really talking about a roof. There's no foundation. The pillars have like a small foundation, but it's a roof overhang, which is very convenient for us with our kids. His mom is in a wheelchair, so it's just really accessible during the winter time to have such a big overhang for the family.
Originally, when the structure was designed, I was very aware of the bylaws. Actually, I read them and looked them up myself independently of the contractor. And I read that it says 25 feet from the line of the street, and I'm not a contractor, and I don't know that that means the plot line, but I went out and measured it exactly 25 feet from where the asphalt of the street meets the first blade of grass, and it was well past 25 feet of that. If you then take it out to the actual plot of the plot line is in the middle of the sidewalk, which cuts off about 4 or 5 feet, and now the structure is 2.5 feet over that line. So that was where the original building plans had gone through. I was well aware of what was going on, but not aware that the line of the street meant line of the plot, but I do think that, that's a side point, I think the law is a little ambiguous, maybe it needs to be revised to be more clear, but either way, so that was, I think, an understanding that maybe the contractor was working off of, and perhaps if he had gotten a permit, he would have
known.
He would have known that that was not the case,
Yeah.
or at least not to be interpreted that way.
Okay.
So the part that overlies the zoning restriction is not actual livable space, it's just the overhang.
Let's see if my colleagues have any questions. Mr. Gray?
Can you just say a few more words about how this particular addition will improve the use of the house? Is help keep the snow out, or
It actually
Definitely.
significantly.
give you a place to
Yeah.
put your key? Do you use this to like carrying groceries in? and
Yes.
That kind of a
And
thing?
ri- you know, we have-
Not right now, but at some point,
We have an absurd amount of children, and obviously we have one on the way. So really, it's true. And so this really, well, these days it is.
We won't put that in the
Yeah.
decision, but how many children do you have?
We have 3, this is 4, but these days that seems like, that's a lot.
So I've noticed with the past winter and the snowfall, the roof substantially clears the area around the front door, whereas if it was cut back to the specifications by zoning currently allowed, there would be no cover from the snow in the front entryway.
right.
And that would be a detriment to our children and our elderly
Yeah,
parents
he
who would
doesn't-
visit the house.
His mom is in a wheelchair.
It would make it very hard.
This is really accessible for her.
Okay. That was my only question, I think.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis?
You did a great job getting letters, obviously. Was there anyone that you talked to who was not in favor of it?
People were jumping to sign it,
Yeah, that's the truth.
every single person.
Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have any other questions.
Just one on that point. Is the person directly in front of you one of the signatories?
Yes.
Could be.
39 is directly across from us, that's Kevin Darby.
Okay,
And then
that's
34
one.
is directly next to us, 33 is directly next to the person directly
Those are
across
all
from us. So all 3 people directly next to us. Yeah.
And also, we're on a corner, so there's a street, like.
The
that
Sumner
goes-
address looks
the
directly
Sumner
at our
address is-
process too.
Yeah, they have a further view
his
of our
front-
house,
from
it's
his front.
further, but you can definitely see our house from his house.
So basically, everyone adjacent to it, and they can see it,
Yeah.
signed in favor of it. Yeah.
Very, very close to everyone.
I think we kept
Okay.
trying to knock on one door, and we
Yeah,
can.
there's a couple doors that were hard to get through to.
Okay, let me see if there's anyone here who has questions of the applicant or is in support of the application. Record will reflect, no one's here, they all wrote in.
Yeah,
Is anyone in opposition to the application? The record will reflect there's no such persons present. So we will close the evidentiary part of the hearing, and we will deliberate on it and vote on it now. Mr. Gray, do you wish to be heard?
I think it's great that you guys got so many letters of support, especially from the folks who were most directly affected across the street and next door. And it's also very helpful to have the photographs so that we can actually see what it's one thing to look at the little plot plan, but it helps to lock in why you need it, what's there. What I would say is that given the fact that there's no one is opposing this, and that the addition of this portico, I'll call it, doesn't seem out of keeping with the other houses in that neighborhood, and it does seem to provide a benefit to the family. I can understand why having a place to stand in a rainy day like today and be out of the rain while you're trying to deal with the door. I think it makes sense to have something like that. I would tend to be in favor of voting in favor of it.
Thank you. David?
I agree with everything that Mr. Gray said. Great presentation and great job getting the letters. And, in the context, I think, of a 25-foot setback, 2.5 feet is kind of de minimis. And, it is an enhancement to the house, and I would be inclined to vote in favor of it as well.
I agree with my colleagues. I think the encroachment here beyond the setback requirement is de minimis, and I think good job getting all the letters. A suggestion, get them to print their names in So we'll vote now on the application. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. You don't have to tear it down. We will write a decision, and you can talk to Ms. Fitzgerald, who will guide you through the process. It'll probably take 10 days, 2 weeks. It'll be then filed with the clerk's office downstairs, and she can talk to you about how to make sure this gets filed with the registry so that your title stays current, so that down the line, this doesn't emerge as a problem.
Fantastic.
Okay? Congrats.
thank you
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, moving right along, guys. Almost caught up. right? Good. Ready?
Yes, yep.
All right, we will call to order the 8 o'clock application, hearing, I should say, upon the application of Duc van Trong. Am I saying that right? Please come on up, folks. I will read the advertisement into the record, and then we'll start. So this is upon the application of Duc van Trong. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
But close?
Close, yeah.
Dated January 28, 2016, on file with the Board of Appeals for variances from the terms of Section 6D1 and 6C3 of the Milton zoning bylaws. The applicant proposes to build a 16 by 12 by 1-story screen porch addition to the rear and a 12 by 26 by 1-story sunroom addition to the right side of the existing single-family home located at 80 California Avenue in Milton. Section 66 requires that new buildings or new portions of buildings be set back a minimum distance of 30 feet from the rear lot line, except that no building need be set back more than 30% of the average depth of the lot, which in this case is 22.5 feet. The proposed porch would be 10.3 feet from the rear lot line. Section 6C3, dealing with side yards, requires a sideline setback distance of 20 feet in a residency zoning district when that sideline abuts another street. The applicant is proposing that the proposed sunroom would be 13 feet from the side lot line rather than the 20 feet required. All is therein set forth in the application and plans on file with the board. In addition to the advertisement which I just read, part of the record includes the application, a denial letter from the building commissioner, Mr. Prondak, Joe, as well as a letter from Attorney McKettrick outlining the request and explaining the rationale for the relief. My voice will die if I read this into the record. I will be brief. This is a letter dated January 27, 2016, addressed to the Milton Board of Appeals from Attorney Marion V. McKettrick. Dear members of the Board of Appeals, I represent Duc van Trong, and please spell
Huyen, Huyen.
Huyen Nguyen of 80 California Avenue in Milton. They have owned their home at the address since 2000. They are raising three children there and require some additional living space. They propose adding a screened-in porch to the rear of the home and a sunroom to the side of the home, both additions to be 1-story and in proportion to the existing house. In order to create this additional space, the family will require relief from the provisions of the zoning bylaws. The house is in a Residence C zone. The existing 0.181 acre lot and the house is conforming, but the proposed screen porch would be 10.3 feet from the rear lot line rather than the required 22 feet, 0.75 inches, 22.75 feet. And the sunroom would be 13 feet from the side lot line rather than required 20 feet. The house is located at the intersection of California Avenue and Laughlin Road. The site proposed as the location for the sunroom faces a high concrete wall and the Southeast Expressway, which is directly across the street where there are no houses. The side where the screen-in porch is proposed is next to the side of another residential lot, but at the same back corner adjoining the expressway. The house is a split-level style with the right side 1-story and the left side facing the house 2 stories with a garage underneath. The 1-story sunroom will line up with the right side of the house and the roof line will be parallel to that of the main house. The screen-in porch will also be on the 1-story side of the house in the back, and the roof line and height will be consistent with the existing house. Materials used for the exterior will match the existing house. The applicants require additional space to accommodate their 3 growing children, and in particular to provide some additional study space and family gathering space in their home. The proposed location for this additional space has been carefully designed to fit with the existing architecture and intrude as little as possible on neighboring properties while addressing the current hardship created by the limited space in the home for 2 adults and 3 older children. Adding on to the house on the opposite side would place an addition closer to more neighbors. Instead, the applicants have chosen to add on the side and back corner closest to the expressway in order to minimize impact on their neighbors. This design also makes sense from the interior of the home, as that corner is the location of the present dining room, which is open to the adjacent kitchen. These additions, as proposed, will be consistent with the architecture of the house and in the neighborhood, and will improve and not detract from the neighborhood. They are similar to many other porch and sunroom additions approved with variances in Milton neighborhoods. I respectfully request that the Board of Appeals grant the requested relief and look forward to discussing the application with you at the hearing. Signed, Marion V. McKettrick. We thank Ms. McKettrick for the letter. In addition, we have a plot plan prepared by C.S. Kelly Land Surveyors of Pembroke, dated December 16, 2015, showing the existing property and the proposed additions. Welcome to the Board of Appeals. As I introduced myself earlier, my name hasn't changed. Emmanuel Alves, I'm acting chair for this hearing. To my right is Board Member Nicholas Gray. To my left is Board Member Ted Daber. Welcome. Ms. McKettrick.
Thank you. I'm Mary McKettrick, and the applicants consulted me a little more than a month ago when they were contemplating pursuing this application, and at that time they'd already had several meetings with the building department, looking at what would be required and trying to develop sketches for what they were going to try to build. Since I filed the application, they've met with 2 contractors. They have a potential contractor, and they have prepared hand-drawn sketches, which should be part of the file and which you can review as part of this application. So there are 4 copies of each of those sketches. And they show the side sunroom addition, the rear porch addition with the dimensions described. They also show the layout of the first floor of the house. So it hopefully will help you visualize what the application is all about. These are not architect's drawings as yet, but the applicants, if their variance requests are approved, will be using a contractor, and they will be most likely using an architect for the sunroom. The contractors advise that they need an architect to help draw the plans for that part of this proposal. So there would be more detailed plans filed, but they're not available for this hearing. We also have photographs of the house. I only have 1 copy of each, but you can pass them around. And they show the house from the front.
Can we keep these, or do you want them back?
Yes, no, they're for you to keep. They show the house from the side, which is the side where the chimney is, 1 story where the sunroom would be, and they also show the house from the rear where the porch would be. And 2 things you should note in these photos are that in the rear, there is there's screening between this lot and the lot to the rear of tall evergreens. We think they're probably 14 to 16 feet high.
Yep.
Exactly. And they're mature and they're healthy, and they will remain.
Okay.
So although this is close, we're talking about, a sunroom, a porch, it's going to be fairly close. Within half the distance it's supposed to be from the rear lot line. It's not visible, particularly because of the screening. And on the side where the sunroom is going to be, there are no neighbors. There's the Southeast Expressway, not a particularly wonderful neighbor to have, but, the applicants have lived in this house for quite a while, and they're used to it. And I think I explained the reasons why they decided to locate their proposed additions on that side. So there is nobody who will have a view of the side addition. From the front, there's even additional screening next to the chimney, so that if anyone were concerned about the view of the new addition, they wouldn't really have a very good view of it. I think the front and the side photographs show you that there are also evergreens and bushes outside the chimney that will block the view of the addition.
This one?
Yes, but I think from the front you can see it better. And as you can see that's right, exactly. The applicants have consulted their neighbors. They did that before they began this process. They've been to each neighbor, each abutting neighbor and nearby neighbors. They know many of their neighbors very well. They are Vietnamese, many of their neighbors are. It's a close neighborhood. The neighbor to the rear probably had the greatest concerns because he's the one who can see it. He has stated that he's not opposed to it, that he's comfortable with it. Everybody, of course, received notices. We didn't get letters from everyone, but the applicants have spent the time to talk to all of their neighbors.
Who is the neighbor to the rear?
In the back
Yeah.
is the Chinese neighbor.
know the
Last name is Yang,
They have-
Y-A-N, I think. I don't know how to spell their last name exactly.
Is it 69 California? Could that be that?
No, they on Laughlin. Laughlin.
Oh, they're on Laughlin.
Right,
Yeah.
right in the back, yeah.
I forgot to tell you that this house is important, is on a corner.
A corner, right,
Right
right.
on-
California comes in like this, Lockland ends in a dead end.
Ours like a last house of the California.
Right, right.
Okay.
Nope.
And they on Laughlin is like on the side. And there's two houses behind us.
Yep. No,
And
I
then
drove,
a dead end street.
I know the area. I drove by.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, 66 Laughlin. You on?
Yes, yes,
Yep,
yes.
yep, okay. And they're not in opposition.
Nobody is opposed. Everybody is supporting this proposal.
Yeah, we talked to them before we even start anything.
Yeah. That was wise. Okay, I'm sorry.
I do have an additional letter, just with a little bit more information gleaned from the meetings with contractors that the applicants have had, and I thought they might be helpful since we don't have architectural drawings. So we wanted to further indicate that the three-season porch is, I believe, is it going to be on a foundation or on footings? Did you decide?
It's on a footing.
Oh, So
The
both
back,
the
the back,
back, no,
yeah.
not, the back porch will be on footings, and the height of the porch will be the same as the existing house. So you will step directly out
Yeah.
into the porch, and you'll exit the porch on the left side from a stairway going down into the yard. So the stairs don't go further back into the yard. There is an existing kitchen door, which will be eliminated, and a new door, which will be further over to the side of the house.
Where the
will-
dining room is.
Where the dining room is, will open onto the porch. So there won't be two exits off the back. Instead, this will become a new exit. The porch will become the exit, the new back porch. The three-season porch on the side, have you decided whether that would have footings or a foundation?
Just footing.
Just footing. So both will be supported by footings, and both would be at the same height as the existing house, and you would step directly out into each addition.
Okay.
There will be, of course, windows around the sunroom, being a sunroom. The number of windows has not yet been determined as basically a cost issue, and they'll have to be getting more detailed estimates from their contractor. But it would be, we've looked at sort of standard versions of sunrooms. Generally, there's at least one window on each side, and there'll be three windows across the back. So it will be attractively designed, but it will look a lot like other sunrooms that you've seen. The angle of the house, as described in my application, there is one change there. The sunroom roof will extend the same lines as the house roof. So if you look at it, it's a split-level house, the roof goes sideways, and the sunroom will continue sideways. The screen porch in the back will be at right angles, so the roof will come out from the back of the house at right angles, but both roofs will be the same height or lower than the existing roof. I think they're supposed to be the same height, and both are one-story, at a one-story height.
And I think you said this in your letter, but the exterior will be consistent with the existing structure.
The roofing materials will be the same type of shingles as the existing roof. The exterior of each will be designed to match the current, which is siding. I think
Yeah,
it's yellow
yeah,
siding
yeah.
right now.
And I know these are preliminary drawings, but if the board were to approve this, could we link this or indicate that the construction will be substantially conforming to these drawings, or could they deviate from?
The drawings aren't very detailed, so I
Well, that's
mean,
true.
I'd be comfortable with doing that as long as the dimensions are the primary
Okay.
It's a one-story addition. You have the length and width for the back screen and porch and the length and width for the sunroom. And we've gone over that quite a bit. They've reviewed it with a contractor. Those are the dimensions that they want.
Okay.
There might be a window depiction or something like that in these sketches, then the windows might look a little different because they don't have final
Right, you're right, they're not very
information
detailed.
about windows. Windows are the main features of the sunroom, other than the angle of the roof, and they do know what the angle of the roof will be.
But it's intended that they'll architecturally blend
Yes.
in with the existing house, and, yeah.
Yes.
Questions, Mr. David? Greg?
Just one, I think, at the moment, which is, can you help, referring to the plan, can you help put, where's the expressway? It's on this
Yes,
side?
Yes, yes.
So it's across,
The expressway?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's running like
yes,
this?
Yes, yes. The wall.
And there's a big, I know the wall, yeah, the
Yes.
big wall, right?
Yeah, yes.
And
this is the street here?
You can
It's
see
a
the
crosswalk on the
wall.
street.
The
That's where
crosswalk on the
Yeah,
street?
wait a second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
right
street.
here.
There's a street.
Yeah, I saw
Looking
that.
across the
So
backyard,
There's a
yeah,
street,
this one.
there's
That
a,
tells you how close it is.
No, that's
one's-
the back. That's.
I know, but that's the
back.
wall.
Oh, that's the
Yeah,
wall
that's
on
what
the
I-
over
side,
there, right?
yes.
Ridiculous,
But
right?
looking
And
at
there's
the-
a street.
those trees we see in that picture are
Uh-huh.
somewhere, or they're on this line.
It's on
right?
both lines, yeah.
Yeah,
Right there on the back,
And
between the neighbor and...
It's on
that,
the other line too.
that wall
Yeah.
there is the expressway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that mean Lachlan Street is in front of the wall?
Yes.
Lock.
Along the wall.
Between
Along the
there
wall.
is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That just helps me
Yes,
orient.
Yeah,
it's
so
important
if
to
you go,
understand that.
if you go, there's a street there at the end of that, if you go through that street, there's two houses behind there.
Let me just, okay. This is a stupid question. You guys probably already know this. I'm sorry, I'm asking it, but just to be sure.
stupid questions.
The wall, Lachlan Street,
Yes,
is that in front of the wall on this picture? or-
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
So
There's a street
so anyone who would, there's no one living on the other side of Lachlan Street that's going to be staring at this, the
Wall.
sun porch addition,
It'll be dangerous.
right? It
It's
would
a
be very
wall.
dangerous.
It's
In
a
fact,
wall.
there's a 30-odd, there's a really tall wall,
Yeah,
Yes.
And no residential
right?
lot in
There's
front of it.
no one is going to, you'd have to be driving by
Yes.
and slowing down and not looking at your cell phone while you're driving in order to be, yeah, okay.
I don't even think you can see over the
Can't
wall.
see
No,
it.
you
Yeah.
can't.
The wall's really high.
Before the
Yeah, no,
wall,
not that wall,
before
but-
they put the wall, you can see our house on the highway.
Yeah.
But once they put it in the wall, you can't see it.
And, all right, I think that was the main question I had. Thanks.
No, that actually does help.
All right.
Mr. David, any questions?
Yeah. So the screened-in porch then, if this is the back, would be
The walls
like
are
right where
fine.
Yes,
this
the
window
porch
is
will
coming
come
out?
Yes.
12 feet?
Yes,
Okay.
and that door right there, that kitchen door right there will close.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just gonna open the sliding
the
door through
backyard
the
where all the
window.
trees
Like where the
are.
window is,
Yeah.
yeah. And this is the same, this is that
That's the
same
back.
area, and these are
Yes,
the
that's
trees
the
are all
back.
this tall all the way
Yes,
along?
it's
the-
like 14, 15.
Okay.
I think it's a
Very
taller than
artfully
that.
drawn,
Are
isn't
the
it?
trees on your lot or the neighbors?
It's ours.
They're yours,
He
okay.
built it.
Smart.
He did all that work.
Good. That
And
was
and it's
wise.
intended, I take it, that those trees stay?
Yes, or we're
Okay.
not
As long
gonna
as the
take it
deer
down.
don't eat them, right?
This
It's taken a lot of work for all that
This
tree.
may be a silly question, because I think I already know what the answer is, but I'd like to ask it anyway, again, for the record, because, the plot plan, there seems to be adequate room on this side to put structures on, and could you just go through the reasoning why it's being done this way, for the record, being put on this side and on this side?
Oh, why I have that two
Yeah,
room
well-
on that side?
Yeah, why it's being done here when there's more room on the,
Oh, because like,
the other side.
we don't want to be like bothered with the other neighbor on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side is because it's come out right up the kitchen and dining room.
Mm-hmm.
So if the porch and the sunroom come out that way, is more, it's like, it's make more sense than put it on the other side. If you put it on the other side, if you have to, go there and spend your time, you're gonna have to walk through the garage. There's a garage in order to get to the other side.
Right, or bedrooms.
Just in terms of use, that's
upstairs.
still
The
okay.
bedroom is up on the second level.
Right, so as to the inside of the structure, putting the sunroom where you want to put it, we'll put it next to the living room and the dining room, right? As opposed to the sort of bedroom.
More
Yes,
natural.
Garage
yeah,
area.
In
yeah.
terms of use,
Right.
it's more natural to
Yeah.
step in. Yep.
And,
Yeah, especially the back porch, it doesn't make sense to put it on the other side.
Let's see.
Because then you're gonna have to walk through the basement to the garage in order to get to the back porch.
you're also going to get more sun in that side, looking at the,
Which is useful for a sunroom.
exactly the point I was trying to make.
Yes.
And I apologize if you've already answered this one too, but how big is your family?
We have 5, we have 3 kids.
What ages?
Yeah. And then my daughter, she's 13, and I have a hard time getting her for space for studying. So, like, I'm like, please, she just want to get a place, I already promised her if I get it done, she will have her desk and, and the computer in there so she can study. So,
So your daughter's 13?
13, and I have a 16 and a 21. And he's in school, he's commuting home, he's not living in school, so like,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know how expensive it is.
Tell me about it.
He's not gonna be
I know
able to
well.
afford his own place for a while, so,
Yeah.
and it's crazy to put up with 3 teenager kids, plus working full-time and,
Got it.
Show them the space on the other side of the wall.
Space in the garage for the 21-year-old, right? Okay.
I want to put him in the basement.
Any other questions?
No.
I'll have to ask, but anybody present who has questions of the applicant, who stands in support of the application or in opposition to the application, and the record will reflect that there's no such person present. Mrs. McKettrick, anything else you want to add?
I have nothing to add. That's pretty much everything.
Thank you. We'll close the evidentiary portion of the hearing, and we will deliberate over the application and decide on it now. Acting chair's prerogative. I'll go first. The seat's got to have some value. Thank you for coming, for Mrs. McKettrick, for a very well-presented application. I think it's fairly obvious, the need. I think I'm persuaded by the choice of the location of the proposed addition. It's least intrusive to the neighbors and frankly, the only commonsensical place to position it. I think that the board has granted such variances in the past, I agree. And no opposition. All the neighbors seem to be in support of the application, and I'd be inclined to vote in favor of granting the variances.
All right.
Favor.
I agree with the choice of the location. It is, I guess I can't say that the encroachment is de minimis. It's fairly substantial. It's more than 50% of the areas. On the other hand, I think we have a special situation with the expressway wall being on the other side, and I would consider that to be a big factor. I mean, there's no houses across the street here who can see it, and it's screened from the house and back, and my understanding is that those neighbors are not opposed to it, are in favor of both of the additions. And I think on that basis, and particularly considering and probably mentioning in the decision the presence of the expressway, given the large, the fairly large encroachment, and the fact that all of the neighbors have been in favor of it, I would also be inclined to vote in favor of it. And again, I'd also like to say that Mrs. McKettrick did a fine job of presenting it. Great job.
Thank you.
I have nothing further to add to what my colleagues have said, but for the reasons that they've stated, I would support the application. I think it wouldn't make much sense, given the layout of the house as on the lot, as well as the the interior layout of the house to put this addition on the other side. And although the encroachment is fairly substantial, given the setback requirements, the presence of the expressway right there, you know, sort of cuts down on the number of people that would be adversely affected by having such an encroachment. So I'll vote for it.
All right, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. McKettrick can explain the process to you, but we will draft a decision, which will be filed at the clerk's office. You have to wait 20 days until you can pull a building permit and speak to your counselor. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you very much.
Thank
you.
you
very
much.
Good luck.
Appreciate your consideration.
Congratulations.
Enjoy it.
Take care.
Once it's built.
All my kids can't wait.